Have you ever really stopped to think about it? You're scrolling through Netflix, you find that show you've been dying to see, you hit play, and poof. It just works. Every single time. It feels so simple, right? But behind that one little click is one of the most complex, most impressive, and most resilient systems ever created. So, what is actually going on in that split second between your click and the show starting? Well, it's definitely not magic. It is an absolute masterclass in engineering, and it was born from a crisis that almost brought the entire company to its knees. And, understanding their story reveals a really powerful lesson for anyone, any company, any country trying to build something huge, and build it fast.
All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the big technical problem that pretty much every growing company runs into. Then we'll look at the exact moment Netflix hit a wall and how they completely reinvented themselves to handle the chaos. We'll also dive into why they believe infrastructure is a team sport, and we'll wrap it all up with the huge lesson this holds for building the future quickly. So let's get into it.
First up, we've got to understand the old way of building software. It's this technical trap that so many successful companies fall into at some point. It's called the monolith. A monolithic application is, well, exactly what it sounds like. One giant single piece of code. Everything. Your user profile, the billing system, the recommendation engine, the video player itself, it's all tangled up together in one massive interconnected blob. Now, when you're starting out, this is actually fine. It's simple, it's fast to build. But as you get bigger, it turns into an absolute nightmare. Think of a monolith like a Jenga tower. It's this one single structure, and if you have one tiny little bug in one tiny piece of the code, the whole tower can come crashing down. A microservice architecture, on the other hand, that's like a big set of Lego blocks. Each block is its own little independent service. If one block fails, the others don't really care. They just keep on working. You can swap one out, you can update one, you can add more of one, all without messing with the rest of the structure. And boy, did Netflix learn about the dangers of that Jenga tower the hard way. Their own incredible success literally became their biggest threat, and it pushed their original system right to the edge, to a really dramatic breaking point. I mean, just take a second to look at this timeline. It's wild. They went from mailing DVDs in red envelopes in '97 to launching streaming a decade later. But the real explosion, the thing that changed everything, started in 2010 when they went international. This wasn't just growth, it was hypergrowth, and their Jenga tower was getting really, really wobbly. By early 2021, they had over 200 million subscribers, all over the world. Just try to picture that, 200 million people all potentially hitting play at the same time. The strain on that old monolithic system was just unimaginable. They were literally facing a crisis born from their own success. And this quote from a Netflix engineer, man, it just says it all. He's talking about the nightmare scenario they were living with every day. A single bug could trigger what's called a cascading failure. It's like dominoes. One little service tips over, it takes down another service that relies on it, and then another and another until, boom, the whole system just grinds to a halt. For you, that's just the annoying loading spinner that never goes away. For Netflix, that's a potential global outage. So what do? They didn't just try to put a Band-Aid on the system. No, they decided to build something completely new from the ground up. Something that didn't just tolerate failure, but actually kind of embraced it. And their solution was a radical shift in thinking, microservices. This was their answer. Instead of that one giant fragile Jenga tower, they decided to build with hundreds of independent Lego blocks. A service just for handling your billing, another service just for keeping track of your watch history, a service just for the search bar. Hundreds of them, all working on their own, but all talking to each other to give you that totally seamless experience. And to manage all this beautiful, organized chaos, they developed a brilliant playbook. First, autoscaling. If a service starts getting hammered with too many requests, say on a Friday night, the system automatically spins up new, identical copies to handle the load. Then, canary analysis. Before they roll out a new feature to everyone, they test it on a tiny fraction of real users, like a canary in a coal mine, to see if anything breaks. And third, stage deployments. They roll out big changes one part of the world at a time. That way, if there's a problem, it's contained, and it doesn't take down the service for everybody else. Okay, so fixing the software was one massive piece of the puzzle. But that's only half the battle, right? To deliver high-def video to 200 million people, you need servers. A lot of servers. And this is where Netflix learned another crucial lesson. You don't have to build the entire stadium yourself to have the best team on the field. This is where the physical world comes in, and it's so clever. Netflix created a program called Open Connect. So instead of trying to stream a movie all the way from some huge data center in California, they had this radical idea. What if they put a small server packed with the most popular Netflix shows right inside your local internet provider's building? They literally move the content to within just a few miles of your house. And they really put their money where their mouth is. Since 2011, they've poured over $1 billion into building out this network. And get this, they actually provide these special servers, which they call Open Connect appliances, to the internet service providers for free. And the result of all that investment? Today, there are over 14,000 of these little Netflix boxes scattered all across the globe, in 142 countries. It is a massive, distributed network that is built entirely on partnership.
Now, here's the crucial point. This isn't charity. It is a brilliant win-win. By putting servers locally, Netflix dramatically reduces the traffic and the strain on the ISP's own networks. In 2020 alone, it's estimated this strategy saved their partners around $1.2 billion. So Netflix gets faster, more reliable streaming for us, and the ISPs get a much lighter load on their infrastructure. Everybody wins.
So what's the big takeaway from all of this? The microservices, the chaos engineering, this incredible cooperative infrastructure. What does it actually teach us? Well, it's a powerful lesson in how to build for the future, not just bigger, but faster and smarter.
The core philosophy here is that they didn't wait until they had a perfect, unbreakable system. They started with something that broke, and they learned from it over and over again. They built for resilience, not for perfection, by decentralizing everything. And maybe most importantly, they proved that partnership isn't just about a business deal. They showed that trust itself is a technical problem that you can solve with smart architecture. And there is no better example of this than the absolute wildest paradox in modern business. Netflix, the king of streaming, runs its entire service on Amazon Web Services. Yeah, that's the cloud platform owned by its #1 competitor, Amazon Prime Video. So why on earth would they put their whole business in the hands of their biggest rival? Because they solved the trust problem. Not with handshakes, but with technology, with architecture, and with strategy. Now, this idea, this model of leveraging existing trusted infrastructure through smart partnerships, it's so much bigger than just movies. Think about it. This model is a blueprint that could allow any large organization, even an entire nation, to fast-track its digital transformation. Instead of spending years and billions trying to build massive centralized data centers from the ground up, you can leverage the powerful, reliable infrastructure that's already there. And that really leaves us with a final important question. Netflix proved that you can get to global scale faster and more reliably by building on top of what's already there, not by starting from zero. So if cooperation and leveraging existing infrastructure is the key, why should any nation wait to build its digital future from scratch? Maybe the fastest way forward isn't to build it all alone, but to build it together.